Thank you for joining us on another episode of Flooring You Can Trust. On today's episode, we will be focusing on installation supplies for your flooring. Joining me today is a very special guest from one of the leading manufacturers of adhesive and sealants. She has been in the industry for almost 3 decades now, starting out as a manufacturer rep in 1995, and is currently a senior territory manager. Adhesive literally runs through her veins. Her dad worked for and retired with W.W. Henry, which is now a division of Arctic Americas, and her mom worked for ProCure, a grout company. Welcome to the show, Donna Grady.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be here.
Yeah, it's so exciting that you are here. So would you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this industry?
Well, I didn't really have much of a choice, as you indicated. My father worked for W.W. Henry and my mom worked for ProCure, so the setting materials is in my blood. I would just sit at the kitchen table listening to them talk, and I'd be like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And so, but here I am, and that's the key to the flooring industry, is that it does get into your blood. It is an incredible market. It is an incredible culture. The people just draw you in, and once you get involved in this industry, it's very hard to leave, because I haven't found another industry that really is and offers what the flooring industry has given to me. And that's one of the things that my dad has, always told me, that this is a great industry and you could work your entire life in this industry and not move on. And
Yeah.
I have been with Bostik a really long time, comparative to what the rest of people do in their professional careers. And I've loved every minute of it.
I imagine that you've seen some changes over your 30 years in the industry. What does it look like for a woman to be in this industry, which is predominantly male dominated?
Yes, that's a great question. It has changed a lot. I mean, 30 years ago, there was no women doing what I do, and when I would come in, they would ask, what are you, the new retail rep, or are you the new distributor rep? Because there were women in distribution, but there were no women representing manufacturers. Today, I have absolutely no issues that I had 30 years ago, and it could be just the longevity and the ability to exert myself technically. That's an odd phrasing, but for most women in the construction industry, I think that it has always been that we have to learn technically every aspect of what we're doing. Not only do we have to understand what is going on with adhesives and self-levelers and any other segment of setting materials, we also have to understand the finished goods so that we could be seen as experts, not just another pretty face walking in. And so I think that every woman really embraces that type of way of coming into this marketplace.
Yeah, it's such a small industry. I think you got to really love it and embrace it in totality, not just your piece of the market. So,
Correct.
yeah.
And being that specialist, that's what's key, being an expert in your field and not relying on personality. I mean, personality is always a key to sales, but you're, really diving into the subject matter is really, really important.
Yeah. What do you love about this industry so much?
Oh gosh, I could go on and on. When I first started, I really kind of was a jack of all trades. I went into the ceramic industry. I worked with some of the leading people in the technical side of that, the technical committee. I worked with ASTM, with my dad, really. I really rode on his coattails there. And then I dove into the resilient side of the business, but there's something about hardwood that just stole my heart. And it's the craftsmanship and the culture and the family. I mean, here you're a perfect example that you're a family business. And for me, it's a family business as well. So I love the pride and the skill that goes into installing a hardwood floor. 99.9% of the installers, contractors, and yourself, the people that sell this product, really love what they're doing and love the product that they're selling. Anybody can just say, hey, here's a 6-pack of Coke, but that's not what we're, as an industry, what we're doing. And I love that about the hardwood industry, just the love of the product itself.
Yeah. My next question was, are you passionate about the sticky stuff or the things that it accomplishes? And I think you've just beautifully answered it.
Both, yeah.
Seeing the end result and the small part that your innovation, your products have brought to the completion of the product, that is the exciting part. For me, I love seeing the finished product, even though we may have just sold the product and delivered it. Just to get pictures back from a customer with an end result, that makes me happy. It just brings joy to my life that now a family is going to be living on something that we suggested or accomplished there. So
absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there are many options for adhesive. Why Bostik?
Well, I have a lot of pride, obviously, in the company itself. Having stayed, I'm not going to stay somewhere for 29 years without having some sort of connection with the company as well as the culture and the people that are involved. Bostik is a conservative, risk-averse company. And the reason I bring that up is because we're responsible for manufacturing a product, communicating what it's capable and what it's not capable of doing. And Bostik will not put you, your installers, or your homeowners at risk because we want to get a short-term return on investment and sale. We take our time. As an example, if we create a new product, we don't sell it to you and then watch to see what the result of that is. We test that product for 2 to 3 years before we launch it. Roll-Cote is a really good example of that product. I believe we had that product in select areas of the United States, in contractors using it every single day, in flooring installations, before we actually introduced it as a product that we were willing to sell. So I like that pride in performance that Bostik offers. Additionally, myself and there's at least 2-3 other people here in the West Coast have been here 30 years as well. They're actually younger than me. I mean, there's something that can be said for that longevity, that people are proud to stay at a particular company.
Yeah, you don't find that with many brands anymore.
Correct.
So that is a testament. So aside from adhesive and sealers, what else does Bostik offer?
So we're a global entity. We have sealants. We have a whole division that just sells sealants for every part of your house. We have, in the flooring category, we have grouts, thin sets, mortars on the East Coast. We no longer sell ceramic on the West Coast. We have cement subfloor prep category, which is you have moisture mitigation, you have patches, you have self-levelers. We have ramping materials. We have resilient adhesives, a full line, full scope of everything needed to install a resilient floor, and that includes LVT, LVP, all the acronyms, and then all of the hardwood adhesives.
Well, since you do offer a broad range of adhesives, I'm going to list some of them one by one, and let's just do a little product overview on these particular options. We're a Bostik house here, so that's one of the brands that we represent. And some of these things you will find here at Corona Hardwood. ProCure.
Yes. So that's our entry-level adhesive. That product performs really well if you want something that just is simply going to adhere your floor, or an underlayment such as cork. and it is a really down basic adhesive that you could also use upstairs if you're not concerned about moisture remediation. It's a simple urethane.
Yeah, so we're just going to call that good.
Yes,
Like,
correct. In your
good to
good, better,
go.
best
Yeah.
scenarios, it's your good category,
Yeah.
correct.
EFA plus.
Okay, EFA Plus is a superior product because it offers 15 pounds moisture limitation when installed with the correct trowel, and it is a different urethane-based technology. ProCure is an older technology of urethane, and it cleans up a little bit more difficult than EFA. EFA is a newer technology and cleans up much easier in its wet stage. Once it cures,
set.
it's tenacious. And that 15 pounds moisture remediation is for vapor. And so what that does is it slows down that vapor transmission up to 15 pounds.
Bostik Best.
Bostik's Best. That is Bostik's Best is the best product in our whole stable of products. It was the very first urethane adhesive that was sold in the industry when 1,1,1 trichloroethane had gone away. And that product is the most tenacious adhesive ever in the flooring industry. Where it sticks, it stays. And
For better or worse.
For better or worse, exactly. Because if it gets on the floor and it gets on your hands, it's on the floor and on your hands. You wipe your hands off on your jeans, it's still on your hands, and now it's on your jeans. Anything it touches, it will stay. And it takes a heavy-duty mineral spirits or solvent to remove, wet or dry. But if you have a situation that you need an extremely strong hold and unlimited vapor transmission protection, Bostik's Best is the way to go. I typically recommend Best when you have had a problem and then you have concerns about the performance of anything that wouldn't be as strong as Bostik's Best.
Now, my understanding from my previous interaction with Bostik Best is there was a limitation on that moisture barrier. Is that no longer the case? Is it now unlimited moisture barrier?
Correct. Back to that conservative nature, we tested all of the newer products that we have introduced with unlimited moisture protection. Bostik's Best had always been a system with another product, MVP. And so we never used it as a standalone single-step adhesive.
Even now,
we
you
know
would
it
not
is.
use it as a standalone?
You
or
could,
would?
no, absolutely, you can.
Okay.
With that quarter by quarter V-notch trowel, you could absolutely use it as a single step now. We have enough floors down that we're confident and comfortable with its performance. So yes,
Perfect.
it is also another choice.
Vaporlock.
Vaporlock's my favorite product in the offering because because having done this for 29 years, I have an affinity to urethanes. So I like the urethane technology. Vaporlock has the best of both worlds. Vaporlock is a urethane that cleans up really nicely when it is wet, in its wet stage. Similar to the what I was talking about, the urethane technologies, you have ProCure and Bostik's Best in this tree branch of urethane technology, and on this tree branch you have EFA and Vaporlock. These two are easier to clean up. So when you're talking about good, better, best, I say EFA is better and Vaporlock is best, even though it's called Best. So, but the Vaporlock cleans up very easily, and it has crumb rubber entrained within the adhesive. And what that gives you is several things. It gives you the ability when you're installing your floors that when you press it down, you do not disperse the amount of adhesive that you should have there to act as a vapor barrier. And it also acts as a sound deadener. So what it is it's recycled tires ground to a 90 mil, and it stays entrained in this adhesive. And so it adds to not only the adhesive slowing down or diminishing the sound, but it also, the rubber adds to the diminishing of sound. So vaporlock can be used upstairs and downstairs and have a value added upstairs when using it. We recommend the 1/4 x V-notch trowel to get that unlimited vapor transmission protection.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Greenforce.
Greenforce. Greenforce is the new technology where it is a polymer adhesive. It is an SMP, and the reason that I call it an SMP because it's a styrene modified polymer. Greenforce, it has tri-linking, which think about a chain link fence. When we're thinking about vapor transmission, everyone has boiled a pot of water on a stove and you see vapor coming up. And so if you put a chain link fence over that pot of water, some of the vapor is going to get through. Well, when you have, cross-linking, that's what you're getting, basically a chain link fence. When you do tri-linking, think of that vinyl that goes through the chain link fence. You have 3 branches coming together as it cures, and it is a stronger vapor reduction with Greenforce and an SMP. So those initials matter in chemistry. Mm-hmm. And I bring it up because that is what Greenforce is, and it's a superior product in the marketplace, because there's others that are MS, which is modified styrene chemistry. We won't get too much further into it, but MS, MS is cross-linking as opposed to tri-linking. And so Greenforce cleans up like a dream. You can use a dry.
That's my favorite part.
Yes, I know, right? Especially, I keep looking at your floor because it's gorgeous. And if you were to get any adhesive on this floor, you're going to be like, you don't want to put any mineral spirits or solvents on here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use any chemicals when you're cleaning up Greenforce. All you have to use is a dry rag, wet or dry. Mm-hmm. Once it's cured, you can still get that product off the top of the floor. You just use a diaper or a t-shirt, a very soft fabric, because you don't want to scratch your floor. If you're like me, I'm always like in a hurry and I'm going to rub it too hard. And then just take a plastic spatula on top of that rag, and it's going to take it right off. I love that feature of that product. Additionally, in the Greenforce, you're going to get a better yield. When you open up that bucket, there's no slight skinning, even though it is moisture curing. It doesn't really dry on top in the manufacturing process. Urethanes tend to get a very slight little skim on top. Mm-hmm. It's normal and it's natural. During the manufacturing, it gets exposed to the air. It's tacky right out of the bucket. So that's really nice, because if you've got wide planks, long lengths, it's going to grab them, and it's much more forgiving than urethanes. Urethanes take the moisture out of the air to start to become tacky, to grab your flooring. Greenforce right out of the bucket is sticky, for lack of a technical word.
Sticky.
Yeah.
Ultra Set Single Step 2.
Okay, so Ultra Set was the very first product we ever sold, and it was in the ceramic industry. Ultra Set Single Step 2 is a new version of that product. It has the best of all worlds. It is a polymer-based adhesive. It has the recycled rubber entrained within it. There's a little bit more in this product, so that the sound reduction is a 71 IIC. What the number means is that IIC is impact. And so it takes it up to the highest level in the industry, which is comparable to half-inch cork. And so if you have any issues with cabinets, fire-rated doors that you can't move, but you need to get sound deadening, and you can't get half-inch cork in there, Ultra Set Single Step is a great alternative to those scenarios. Cleans up like a dream, super tacky when you open it up, because it's similar to the Greenforce in all those attributes.
Would you say that is the highest level product that you offer?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. You've mentioned trowel, 1/4 x 1/4, yes. V-notch. What is the standard for how often should a contractor get a new trowel? Is it every bucket? Is there a certain amount of square footage? Because we know those teeth do wear out.
Correct. I love the trowel conversation because trowel is a word that we all use. I call it a metering device because that's really what the function of that little metal handled device is. You know, what we're doing is asking the installer to meter out this amount of adhesive so that they can achieve a specific amount of vapor protection as well as guaranteeing the adherence to the ground no matter what. And so if you use old Rusty for 3 jobs, old Rusty's not going to do the job, right? So those V-notch are our preferred recommendation for a couple different reasons. When you think about a configuration of a V, the points are what are drawing that adhesive away. When you're looking at a square notch, you're having a larger area pulling away from the concrete. If your subfloor concrete is not flat and has little undulations in it, guess what? You're going to have hollow spots in your hardwood. The homeowner's not going to like it. I was ready to tap on it, but the homeowner's not going to like that sound. Additionally, you're not going to get that moisture vapor protection. Think about a boat that you're waterproofing and you're going like this to the boat, okay? And then you launch it. What's going to happen? You're leaving an avenue for it to come in. And so the metering devices are very, very important. And my preference are the V-notch trowels because you're going to get the best performance. As far as how long, how far does a trowel last, really that's the installer's scope of work that they should be familiar with because each subfloor is different. If you've self-leveled it, your trowel's going to last a little bit longer. If it's not self-leveled and it's an older concrete, you're using that trowel to help yourself up, like I do when I'm doing demos. You know, that they're aluminum. They're not going to last that long. The concrete is going to be stronger than that trowel is. So typically I tell people, you know, probably every 700 square feet in a 4-gallon bucket is a reasonable amount. What's also nice, and another part about vaporlock and ultraset single step, that crumb rubber acts as a governor. So if you're starting to trowel out that adhesive and you're dragging those little rubber pieces, and the installer will see that, it's time to change that trowel or retooth it. If you're really conservative, I was going to say frugal, you can retooth your trowel. But yeah, the recycled rubber will act as a governor and show you, oh, it's time to adjust. It's another nice thing about vaporlock and ultraset single step too.
One of the most common failures for a floor is excessive moisture coming from the subfloor. For decades, the to-go product has been Bostik's MVP. That's a part of the 2-part system. But recently, a new product has emerged called Roll-Cote. Can you explain the difference between the 2 products? And in your expert opinion, which one offers the best option for a consumer?
Interesting. It's hard to say best in regards to what offers because each scenario brings its own challenges. MVP was a product we developed in the late 90s to address the moisture concerns, and it really did elevate the ability to install hardwood in many, many locations that people would never think to put hardwood. We have tons and tons of hardwood installed in basements. We have solid hardwood floors installed due to the strength and the robust combination of MVP and Bostik's Best that will adhere and protect from below solid hardwood floors. The Roll-Cote is a new technology because just like Bostik's Best, we found the products that are now being manufactured are more stable also because we're not the only ones that have evolved over the last 30 years. Your finished goods have evolved and they're manufactured a little bit differently and a little bit better. And so they're addressing the concerns that moisture creates for the finished goods. So Roll-Cote is a product that is unique. It's water-based. It is a roller-applied product, so installers and homeowners as well, if it's a DIY, prefer to get up off their knees, don't we all? And we want to be able to roll something on. It is, one coat will protect up to 90% RH. 2 coats will protect up to 99% RH. You've heard me talk about pounds and percentages. They are not the same. We could spend hours talking about this, but we don't have that much time today. I know. And movement, you know. Just in the short, relative humidity is a static measurement. It's telling you what is the potential for movement in your concrete slab. So when you ever hear those words, when you're talking about the performance of either a finished goods or a moisture barrier, it's telling you that it will perform up to that 99% RH. 100% is water. Nobody performs against water. Nothing can withstand the pressure of water coming from below. Pounds is a measurement of how much vapor is actually moving into the room, and that's really what matters, okay?
So to clarify, this is protection against vapor,
correct,
moisture coming through the slab,
that
but
is
not
correct.
water.
Correct.
If you have a flood and you have used Roll-Cote, that is not meant to stop the water from coming.
That is correct. There are no products in this industry that will protect your flooring from water coming from below. When you hear the terminology waterproof, all they are inferring is waterproof is this direction, vapor protection is this direction. So waterproof membranes are stopping a toilet, a sink, a bathtub overflowing and not destroying your kitchen below or your living room. Or if you're on a balcony, you don't want if you spill something, you don't want it going down to the balcony below, so they waterproof it. Waterproofing is not this direction. It's always this direction in flooring. And it's really important we start talking about that so people understand, because we tend to take terminology and do this. And what matters is that water's water and vapor's vapor. And there's no products right now that have been developed to protect from water, stopping water from coming this way.
Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
We've been fighting this battle for years.
Yes, me too.
Semantics.
Yes. Well, yeah, words.
Most flooring manufacturers will call for a subfloor that is flat to 3/16 of an inch on a 10-foot span. We know that most homes do not meet this standard. What product would you recommend to fix this issue?
I would recommend SL175, especially on concrete. I would go with Portland-based cement. There's a difference between the two products. There's Portland-based cement is gray, and any gyp or lightweight gypsum-based product is going to be white. That should never be on concrete. That would only be used upstairs. So always make sure that the self-leveler is gray. SL175 is the superior product, and the reason being is that when you mix the product, it's like baking a cake. You put the powder and the water together, and you blend it up, you pour it out, and you move it so that it flattens out. Other products that are quick to cure lose that water immediately. And what's that going to do to your flooring? If it's leaving, if all that moisture is leaving, you have the opportunity for that floor to cup or stain, depending on what the finished goods are. The SL175 takes the water in the mix and uses it to cure itself. Basically, and here I go with my hand gestures, the molecules are banging together and using that water and keeps it inside the mix. It does not release it into your flooring. And it cures very, very quickly. You can return to service, I call it, is you can get on top of it much quicker than other products, and you can leave it exposed. God forbid something happens and maybe there's something going on with the flooring. Maybe there's there's a delay, maybe the installer has an issue, whatever, circumstances, things happen. The SL175 is a wear layer also. And so you can walk on it, live on it until you're ready to go. So I think it's the best product in the marketplace myself. It's easy to do. I can do it.
Periodically, we will get calls from customers that will have glue residue on top of their flooring after installation, and that is difficult to remove. Is this normal, and how would you recommend cleaning dried up adhesive off of pre-finished floor?
Great question also. It should be difficult because it's supposed to be holding the floor down, so whatever it attaches to, it's tenacious. I love that word. The key is that you don't want to use a bunch of different products. What you want to do is use what's recommended by that adhesive. If we're talking about Greenforce, the polymer technology, you don't have to use any solvents at all. All you have to do is use a dry rag, very softly abrade it off. You could use your fingernails, it comes off that easily. And the longer it's there, including the polymers, the longer any adhesive is there, the greater the PSI, which means the greater the grab. If it's there for a day, you're going to have an easier time than if it's there a week. If it's there a week and you go a month, you're not going to get it off after a month. You've got to clean it as soon as possible. My recommendations with urethanes is you do not clean the floor with a solvent. Do not pour the remover. Remember, remover. It could remove the finish of the floor. You pour it on the rag, you put it on the spot. Go see if there's any other spots. Use a different rag. Pour the remover on the rag, put it on the spot. Go back to your first spot, very gently rub. And if it leaves any kind of a shine, come back with a cleaner. Or Mr. Clean Magic Eraser is another really good remedy to remove any kind of residue from your solvent that you use to remove your adhesive.
Does Bostik offer products that are antidotes to removing those adhesives?
We do. Oh, I believe we do have a remover. Yes, we do have a urethane remover. Okay. Obviously, with the polymer, you don't.
A little bit easier. Yeah. We recently had a customer that purchased a transition molding from us for the second time in a year. She stated that the adhesive used, liquid nails, was not bonding to the vinyl transition piece. What product would you recommend for gluing down transition moldings?
I love a new product that we introduced a couple of years ago called Grip and Grab. This product is paintable, interior, exterior, will glue anything to anything. It will do a vertical installation. So you could literally take a cinder block and glue it to your wall. Wait a few minutes, take another dollop of glue and put a cinder block, and then put a 25-pound weight on top of it. It grabs quickly, it's very strong, and it also cleans up like a polymer. So if you get it on an area you don't, you can clean it up with a dry rag. This product is in a tube, a caulking tube. You want to use a good gun because of the fact that I talked about going vertical. It's not going to flow out of the caulking tube itself. You're going to have a decent gun, and a ratio gun is like 16:1 or 20:1. They're readily available. They're not very expensive, but they're not the $12 gun you're going to get from a hardware store. So this product will glue ceramic, any kind of stone, any kind of backsplash. It is versatile. You can do transitions, starter rows, and I just love this product, and that would be your solution.
Fantastic. We carry it here at Corona Hardwood.
Yeah.
You go out on claims. I've never had the pleasure of accompanying you on a claim, but we've had a number of conversations where Bostik warranty trumps the flooring manufacturer. So for example, if it's a moisture issue and your moisture mitigating product has been used, it's not necessarily the flooring that would have failed at that point. Then we would be looking at, did Bostik do its job? Going out on claims and being involved in that, what are the main issues that you're seeing?
Well, first and foremost, I want to go back to one of the very first questions you asked me about Bostik. One of the things I really like about Bostik is the integrity that they have in regards to how they go to market, as I've indicated. We as salespeople are the individuals that go out on the job site claims, and what that does is it puts the responsibility squarely on my shoulders that I'm not overselling my product, because then I have to show up with you and look you in the eyes and go, oh, I did say that it could, cure cancer. I mean, I can't overstate the performance of my product because I've got to show up. And so going out on the claims, I've over 29 years, I've seen a lot of unusual things. Most of the things I see are the lack of subfloor prep, either contaminants on the substrate, because you're only as good as what you're adhering to. So if you are going to have not swept the floor properly and you're going to glue over that, guess what? I'm going to be sticking really nicely to the dust. And if the floor moves at all, it's going to come off and it's going to look like glass on the back of that board. Second to that is not really addressing any kind of dips and not doing the proper subfloor prep, really. Back to that, and there's hollow spots. My glue is not good, anybody's glue for that matter, is not going to fail just right here and be well adhered here and well adhered there. So if you have one spot that sounds hollow to you, more than likely the board did not stay adhered. It either never came in contact with the adhesive or moved out as it was starting to cure. And usually that's because the floor has got a little duck pond, as we call it sometimes. Last but not least is the moisture. So one of the things that I always tell installers to do, and anybody that's doing an installation, is walk the perimeter, check to see what's going on with your weep screeds, and that's what's in the side of the house where the water comes down stucco. It's called a weep screed, so that the water's not getting stuck there and going into the side of your slab. And make sure there's no sprinklers and so on and so forth. If it smells like must and there's white chalk, that's an indication that there's a high moisture condition. You're going to want to test. Another nice little trick is if you're testing with an electronic meter like a Tramex, what you want to do is make sure that you take your readings, take a Sharpie, mark what those readings are. Because for me, when I go and do a job walk, I ask the installer or whomever, where do you want to pull board? Let's see what's going on underneath, because I don't have x-ray vision. And so we have to remove a board. If it's an area where you had tested and you're like, oh yeah, on my sheet, I did some testing over here, that Sharpie is indelible. It's never going to leave. And so it's going to coincide so we can protect everybody to try to find out what's going on. Because it's like Columbo. You want to figure out what didn't happen, that you did do this, then it only leaves these two possibilities. And that's kind of how we go out and look at a job site going, we just have to peel it back and peel it back to find out what happened.
In other words, the research that we're doing is evidence-based.
Correct.
This is not just that the manufacturer doesn't want to cover your claim, that it's always an installer's fault, or that it's not. Has their claim ever even been covered is what I get sometimes.
Right.
The reports that we're looking for are evidence-based, and if you have done your moisture testing, if you have documented it, if you have done the job well, then either there should be no failure or something did in fact fail.
Right, and what we're there to do is try to figure out what that is, to assist either the homeowner in contacting the homeowner's insurance and go, hey, we had an event. A lot of the words I use are like, there's an event that happened, because whatever happened is no longer happening as well. I have seen that in my experience as well. I have a kit of meters. You hear me talking about a Tramex meter, which is a concrete meter I put down and electronically reads about a half an inch down into the concrete. We have wood meters. We have other mechanical devices where we measure the relative humidity and the temperature in the house, because that's ultimately what's responsible for driving moisture into your house. Moisture, remember, moisture/water always seeks its own level. And so one of the key things with hardwood is it's like our own skin. We want the temperature and relative humidity to be comfortable, because it's a living, breathing entity. This wood needs that. And so if the temperature relative humidity fluctuates too much, that also could be an issue. So we come with a case of tools to try to figure out what's going on so we can solve it. You know, that's always what the angle that I've been taught. Back to my dad a little bit, one of the way that I was trained when I started working with him in '95 was he was an inspector that, you know, for commercial jobs, and he taught me how to go out and look at what is going on at a job site to try to rule out all the things and get to the bottom of it. So
yeah.
So.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
as we look towards the future in this industry, is there something new on the horizon? Which way are we innovating? As the flooring innovates, I imagine that adhesives and sealants innovate as well. Is there a department at Bostik that focuses on research and development?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as I indicated, we're a global entity, and there's a lot of products on the horizon. I remember hearing in 2019, and we always have to reference it pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
I know, before. I feel like the Depression kind of, right? It's like pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, that they were developing a product for hospitals, actually, that the adhesive would indicate to the nursing station if somebody fell out of bed, that there were some sort of nanos in the adhesive that could message a different type of pressure on the flooring. So as a company, yes, we're always innovating. And back to, you know, to put a pin on roll-cote, roll-cote is one of those innovations, because there was no other product like roll-cote. Some people are trying to knock it off, but they haven't. But that is a new product in our marketplace because of the fact that it's water-based, it's resealable, reusable, it can be used under a self-level or as a moisture barrier as well as a primer, so it reduces costs and time, because you're going to be installing your self-leveler or your flooring within 2 hours of applying roll-cote. With MVP, that was a 16-hour window for that product to cure. So it's all about, it's always speed with the human beings. I mean, we all love doing things fast. And so I see more and more products trying to get the installation process quicker and return to return to living.
One of my favorite things about roll-cote is that it's black.
Yes.
And so when you're rolling it out on the subfloor, you will know if there's a section that you missed.
Correct.
So that is such a smart bonus to using this product.
Absolutely, and that I forget, because there are so many attributes. It also blocks alkalinity. I talked about all that little white on the concrete. Really what that is, it's the salts. When there's high moisture coming, it comes up in the form very quickly, and the salts dissolve from the concrete mix. And when it comes up to the top of your concrete, it hits the air and the moisture evaporates, and it leaves the salts behind. That's truly what efflorescence is, and that alkalinity. And so roll-cote, if you're putting a vinyl floor, which is susceptible to alkalinity, roll-cote will block that. And so there's just so many attributes to roll-cote that I forget about because it checks so many boxes. It's water-based, it has no odor to it, so for the homeowner literally could put this on themselves. It's that easy. So
one of the things that I appreciate about some of your products is the green story, the VOC free. There's a lot of people that are sensitive to chemicals. They want to be green. They're looking for that product Can you talk about your green story?
Yes. Pre-COVID, we were very active in LEED compliant, and all of our products are LEED compliant. And what that means generally is that our manufacturing processes have to be stamped by the LEED organization to tell us that we're manufacturing greenly. We recycle, we don't waste, we don't pollute, and we used recycled materials such as vaporlock and ultraset single step with the recycled rubber. Vaporlock is 0 VOC. Greenforce is zero VOC, same with ultraset single step. We have just reduced our urethanes again this year to reduce the VOCs because we're concerned, and the government as well, and SCACMAT is a government entity in LA, and they are designating how much VOCs are allowable. And we see this, we work with these entities, and we continue to respond that way. We have a whole division at Bostik that is about renewability. So we're very, very conscious, and I welcome anyone to go to our website. There is a ton of information of what our company does in particular as far as renewable products.
Yes, for sure. I would welcome anybody to go to bostik.com. You can look further into all the details and education on each single product that we mentioned and more, because we don't even have the time to mention every product that you guys offer.
No.
But those are the basic offerings that we have. Is there anything else you want to say about your company and our industry as we end this conversation?
Anybody that is looking for a profession, come into this profession. This is so rewarding. And my dad used to say this, and I can't believe I'm saying it too. I mean, because I'd be like, but it really is a rewarding industry. I think that we all support each other really well. Full circle back to women in this industry. I talk to a lot of my friends, and they talk about how sometimes women don't support women in other industries. Women really support each other, and we lift each other up, and we help each other out in this particular industry. And that also is a form of pride for me too. So yeah, if you're looking for a profession, come. We need more young people in this industry to keep, backfilling.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's been a joy and a pleasure for me to work in this industry for 15 years now.
Yeah. Great.
Many more to come.
Yeah. And watch out for the next Bostik Adhesive coming out. It'll be coming out soon.
Oh, how soon are we talking about?
No,
Oh.
that was my teaser.
I thought we were going to get some breaking news over here.
That's my teaser.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. It is just as important to get the right tools for the job, adhesives, as it is to pick the flooring that you love. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Flooring You Can Trust. Please check us out at onestopfloor.com. If you have any questions, please drop them down below and subscribe to our channel, Flooring You Can Trust.
Thank you.